While quietly cleaning a fish on her kitchen counter, she suddenly lost her grip on her knife and it flew off the counter. She couldn't believe what had just happened. Her eyes widened in disbelief. What she saw couldn't be real. It had to be some kind of prank. She stared at the shiny object in shock, but when she reached out and touched it, her screams echoed through the house as it moved. Her husband came running and asked, "What's going on?" Joel and his wife Minnie live closely connected to nature. In addition to growing fruits and vegetables in their garden, they fish in nearby lakes and seas to put fresh food on the table. Everything they eat is something they've grown or caught themselves because they want to teach their children basic hunting and gathering skills. For them, the grow what you eat lifestyle isn't just a necessity. It's a relaxing hobby that lets them spend quality time together, especially with their kids. That day, the couple caught a fish that unexpectedly changed everything. It was a mudfish, also called a bowfin or trash fish, something most fishermen usually throw back. But if you know how to prepare it right, it can be surprisingly delicious. Thankfully, Joel and Minnie know exactly what to do with it. Every time they catch a bowfin, they know they're in for a great meal. "Looks like it's fish cakes and baked potatoes tonight," Joel said as he looked over their latest catch. Once home, they took the fish out of the freezer and began preparing the other two for dinner. Minnie placed one in the sink and started cleaning it. She had done this routine hundreds of times, but never had anything like this happen before. Of all the steps in preparing fish, cleaning was Minnie's least favorite part. Still, she always said it was worth it, better than buying processed meats full of who knows what. She began by cutting off the head, removing the entrails, and cleaning the inside thoroughly before moving on to the scales. But just as she was about to slice open the fish's belly, something caught her eye. Minnie noticed a hard lump right in the center of its body. It seemed completely out of place. She examined it closely, sure it wasn't the fish's eggs. But if it wasn't eggs, what could it be? It is well known that fish sometimes eat everything, even strange things, but in most cases they just eat regular food. So, carefully, she opened the fish and pulled out what was inside. To her surprise, she found something strange and gasped. It was glowing. Minnie couldn't believe what she was looking at. She kept staring at her hands in amazement. It was a gold necklace with an anchor-shaped pendant hanging from it. Incredible. She couldn't understand how such a small fish had managed to swallow a necklace like that. But something still didn't feel right. The necklace wasn't the only thing odd about the fish. Minnie sensed there was more to uncover. She kept pulling things out and ran her hand along the area where the lump had been. But just as she pressed her fingers to the spot, something terrifying happened. Minnie touched the lump again, and suddenly it moved. She gasped and jumped back, a scream tearing out of her throat. Panic surged through her. She felt an uncontrollable urge to step away from the kitchen counter. Her screams echoed through the house. Joel rushed to her side, his face filled with concern. Her eyes widened at the sight in front of her. Whatever was happening, it made her heart race. She was struggling to breathe, overwhelmed by shock. She hadn't been this startled in years. "What's going on?" Joel asked, his voice tight with fear as he glanced at the fish. Minnie tried to calm down, took a shaky breath, and slowly reached out toward the fish again. She pointed at it with trembling fingers and said, "How is this possible?" The piece of meat curled up as if it were alive, trying to breathe. But that was impossible. The fish had already been cleaned. Its head was in the sink, and the rest of the body lay on the cutting board. Joel leaned forward and poked the fish. It began to move again, more intensely this time. How was this possible? The woman wondered if the lump had caused the fish to move. Before touching it again, she wanted to understand what was really going on. She ran to grab her phone and searched online for any possible explanation. Meanwhile, her husband filmed the fish. Joel breathed a sigh of relief when he discovered something interesting. Fish can still move even after death. Apparently, salt, a common kitchen ingredient and natural preservative, might have triggered the movement. This odd reaction happens because some of the fish's cells may still respond to stimuli even after death. It turns out that sodium, commonly known as salt, can cause muscles to twitch. Scientific explanations were a bit more complex. They involved how sodium and potassium interact with nerve endings, sending out electrical signals. These signals briefly trigger the muscles to contract, even in dead tissue. Finally, Minnie chuckled with relief as Joel lightly poked at the fish and continued to play around with it. But while the fish's movement had been explained, one mystery remained. "What else could be inside this fish?" Joel asked, turning to his wife. Minnie walked over, and as she explained what had happened earlier, Joel was visibly stunned. She spoke with wonder in her voice, and he could tell she still hadn't fully processed what she'd found. "Do you think there could be more jewelry in there?" she asked. "I don't know," he replied, "but I guess we're about to find out." Joel leaned in to peek over his wife's shoulder as she continued pulling things out of the fish's belly. Minnie began to mutter, "But what?" as her hand grasped something round. She pulled out a small ball from deep inside, and the fish's stomach revealed a series of tiny, glowing spheres. "Is that a bead?" Minnie asked. As they picked up the small, shiny balls to take a closer look, they both wondered what exactly these things could be. Joel narrowed his eyes and rolled one between his thumb and finger. Then something caught his attention. When he held the balls up toward the light, Joel's expression changed completely. He couldn't believe what he was seeing. A chilling thought crossed his mind, and he said it aloud. These were real pearls. Minnie stared at him, stunned. Her jaw dropped. "Wow, are you sure?" she asked, still in disbelief. Joel took one of the pearls and gently rubbed it against his teeth. His eyes widened. "These are definitely real," he said. Minnie looked confused, not sure how he could tell just like that. To identify real pearls, one of the best-known tricks is to rub them against your teeth. A real pearl will feel gritty, almost like sandpaper. A fake pearl, on the other hand, will feel smooth. And if you're still unsure, chances are it's not real, because a genuine pearl can even feel sharp against your teeth. But how in the world did they end up in a fish's stomach? It turns out fish like bowfins aren't very picky eaters. In fact, they'll swallow just about anything that moves. After gobbling up oysters or mussels, this particular bowfin must have had a soft spot for anything that sparkled. What the couple didn't realize was that the pearls they had found were incredibly valuable. Each one could sell for anywhere between $300 to $1,500. It was an unexpected, but very welcome, surprise. Joel, still amazed, filmed their discovery and posted it online to share what they had learned. In no time, the video exploded with comments. As expected, many people were amazed, while others accused them of staging the whole thing. Still, some viewers left interesting thoughts. A couple of commenters pointed out that movement after death isn't unique to fish. Frogs and squid can do it too. Of course, not every animal ends up with a hidden treasure inside, but this was one of those rare, unbelievable moments. Nature truly is full of surprises. But what did they actually do with their discovery? Naturally, the couple faced more than just amazement and praise. They were also criticized, especially by people who felt they should have tried to find the rightful owner of the gold necklace. However, when they asked friends if the necklace looked familiar, no one recognized it. It was impossible to trace the real owner. There were many theories, one being that it might have fallen near a body of water. Another question came up too. They couldn't figure out how long the necklace had been underwater or how long it had stayed inside the fish. In fact, it might have been there for years, or even decades. You might think this unbelievable story ends here. But weeks later, something strange happened. Something inside Minnie's freezer, a fish they had caught, started moving. Could there be something else even more interesting? Minnie poked around the freezer like she was on a treasure hunt, feeling a bit silly for doing so. But after the last surprise, she figured, why not check the others too? She thawed one of the fish by cutting open the vacuum-sealed package and placing it in a bowl. Then she waited patiently. Joel, puzzled, raised an eyebrow. "You really think there's more?" he asked. Minnie didn't reply. She gently nudged him aside and brought her hands to the fish, full of excitement. This time, the fish didn't move. She cut off the head and opened the belly, hoping she'd feel something unusual, something besides soggy guts. But this one had no surprises. It was just a regular fish like all the others they had cleaned before. Still, they didn't lose hope. There were 4 more left to check. They found nothing in the 3rd and 4th fish. But the 5th fish, that one caught them off guard. As Minnie sliced into it, her knife struck something hard. Once again, they were shocked by what they discovered inside. Their eyes widened as Minnie reached in and pulled out a piece of gold. This time, it was a ring. It looked like a gold ring, possibly meant for a man. "Now how could this ring have ended up here?" Joel exclaimed. Minnie was too stunned to answer. She leaned back against the kitchen counter, still processing what she'd just found. The new discovery wasn't just as polished as the pearls, it also carried a clue. Still, they had no way of knowing who the ring might have belonged to. Minnie gently cleaned the ring and spotted 2 engraved names, along with a date. That detail, though small, might be enough. Maybe, just maybe, it could help them track down the owner. They both grabbed their laptops and began searching online for matching wedding names and dates. Neither of them could sit still. They were determined to try. "It's worth a shot," Minnie said quietly as she typed. "Jimmy? Maybe James?" she muttered, and her fingers began to fly across the keys. It felt like searching for a single hair in a pile of billions. Finally, after Joel downed his 6th cup of coffee, something came up. "James and Madeline Jeffords!" Joel shouted. Their excitement made Minnie nearly fall off her chair. These might be the people who had lost the wedding ring decades ago. Thanks to the internet, they managed to find a public photo stream filled with pictures of grandkids and silly captions. There was no mention of a lost ring, though. It probably happened so long ago that they'd forgotten. Minnie could barely contain her excitement as she typed out a message to Madeline. She kept checking her phone every few minutes, hoping the account was still active. They waited for hours. The moon was already high in the sky. The kids had long since fallen into a deep sleep. Joel was snoring on the Barcalounger. But Minnie stayed up, staring at her screen and waiting. Then, finally, her phone lit up. Someone had replied. She gasped as she read the message. "Yes, we lost a wedding ring, but that was years ago. Who are you?" Her heart skipped a beat. Her shouting woke up Joel. The couple agreed to follow a simple rule before taking any next steps. Verify the truth. First, they introduced themselves and explained they had been out fishing when they discovered the ring inside a fish's stomach. Their rule was clear: they would only return the ring if they were completely sure it belonged to the rightful owner. But would the person on the other end of the phone be able to describe the ring accurately? Soon another message came through, and what the woman wrote brought tears to Minnie's eyes. She described the ring in perfect detail. She also explained that they had engraved it using Jimmy instead of James. That was it. They had truly found the owner. What Minnie didn't know, though, was that the best part was yet to come. Soon after, Minnie and her family set out on a road trip heading north. The owners of the ring were waiting for them. As they pulled into the driveway, Minnie felt her eyes welling up again. Standing outside, hand in hand, was an elderly couple, beaming with anticipation. What had happened between them was something no one could have expected. It had brought two families together, separated by miles and years. The elderly couple shared their side of the story. They remembered walking along a pier many years ago. Madeline recalled her small jewelry pouch falling out of her bag. She had been taking out pieces to clean them when the bag slipped. She believed the waves must have swept it away. Then they brought out some old photos, showing their wedding rings and happy moments together. To Minnie and Joel's surprise, one of the pictures clearly showed the gold necklace with the anchor-shaped pendant. No one could hold back their emotions. It truly felt like destiny. But the older couple had one more surprise in store. As a token of their deep gratitude, they told Minnie and Joel, "We want you to keep the necklace." Even after returning home, Minnie and Joel couldn't stop smiling. However, this isn't the only time a fish has swallowed a wedding ring or any type of jewelry. Losing something valuable can be deeply frustrating, even more so when the item holds sentimental value. And while losing objects can happen to anyone, not just elderly couples. Sometimes fate steps in and brings it all back. What an incredible journey, from a simple dinner prep to reuniting a lost treasure with its rightful owners. Have you or someone you know ever lost something meaningful and found it again in the most unexpected way? Share your story in the comments. We'd love to hear it. If this heartwarming moment touched you, please like, share, and don't forget to subscribe for more unbelievable real-life stories like this one.